Hi, this is Brian from the Vintage Type, and here is the machine that I nicknamed the Ugly Duckling. And it's all back together now. It's typing pretty well. It does still have one problem, and I'll touch on that here in a minute. The type bars have been adjusted. They are straight, but the gaps between the letters are just a little off. I think I'm going to leave that just because it's not going to be a daily typer. It's more for a note than a novel. The keys are quite worn. It's had a lot of use. The right platen knob is very well worn. I replaced the tab in the right margin key. The left margin was fine, and all the rest of the keys were pretty good. The S and the E, you can barely see them, but they're still there. The spacebar was pretty good. I put in some ribbon spools and a new ribbon, so it has a nice imprint, and I cleaned all the type slugs. Back here, most of these pieces here, these paper fingers turned out pretty well. The bar that goes across here that holds them was pretty well rusted, so I took that out and gave it a little attention with the wire wheel. So some of it is nickel, some of it is bare steel, but it's not rusty and it looks a lot better. The paint overall, it's lost a little bit of its luster, and it's there, but it's definitely not perfect. I replaced the cord on here, so it has a new cord and clip. The bell wasn't in bad shape. The patent tags were pretty good. So all in all, it's just a well-used, functional old Oliver, which is pretty much what I wanted. So I hope you guys have liked this video series on there and that you got some use out of it. Even if they're ugly, if you want to have a good project, this is the one that's worthwhile. So let me show you underneath here. It turned out pretty well. It's pretty clean. Everything is nice and smooth. It wasn't when I got it, but it turned out pretty well. And then this here, this little bar here is more steel than nickel plated now, and I replaced this little piece. This pin was gone, and took it apart and cleaned it up. That was on another video. So they do clean up pretty well, the carriages, and most of them work just fine once you're done. And you can really tell just from the look of this that this machine has done quite a lot of work. So the one thing I did want to show you is that when I started adjusting the type, I noticed that the figures key, when I shifted, the numbers were higher than the letters, because this is the resting position, and then it goes back and it goes forward. But if you type a lowercase letter, that's in this resting position here. So the adjustment for that is in the back, and I'll cover that a little bit more. Okay, here's what I mean about the type not being quite lined up. So you have, let me grab a pointer here. So there, of course, is the Y, and on the figure side of the Y key is the 6. So see how that's a little higher, it's up. And then, let me move this over here. Then the U and the 7 are on the same key, and you can see that's up as well. So let's get that fixed. The carriage is off. Let's take this cover off. And again, this is the adjustment for the capitals. This is the adjustment for the figures. And this little pie-shaped wedge, you might want to make sure this is adjusted right before you do these other two adjustments, just because over the years somebody could mess with it or something. And this will make the capitals out of adjustment. They won't be quite lined up. And it's a pretty simple adjustment to press the capitals key, lock it in place, just loosen this screw. What will happen is this pie-shaped wedge will hit on either side of this bracket, and it'll cause the whole mechanism not to seat properly. So if you just loosen it, move it back and forth, and kind of get it into this little wedge evenly, and then tighten it back up, then that's all you need to do. And then give it a try again. Give the keys, the capitals and figure key, a try to make sure it's smooth. If you've pulled the carriage off like I have here, go ahead and put the carriage on and do another type test, and maybe that'll solve your situation without having to do these two adjustments. All right, so I know I have good alignment. So now what I need to do is turn these screws, I have them loose, so I can make my adjustments. To adjust the figures down, we would turn these screws towards this plate here, and that would bring them down. So usually I'll do about 5 or 6 revolutions. So let's turn these just a few times here, and I'll put the carriage back on, and we'll do some typing and see how close we are. I've already moved these a little bit, so I think we're pretty close at this point here. I will do another type test and see what happens. 6 and a Y and a 7 and a U. And what I've done is, it looks like I went too far down. So you can see the 7 here is just below the base of the U, so I'll adjust that back a little bit. Okay, so let me unscrew this a little. See what happens. And I'm turning it about 2 revolutions. A little too high. So a couple more turns. Let's see. It's about a half a turn. Try to get this all in one shot here without turning the camera off. Okay. And that looks pretty close. Let's see. Try the 8 again. I'll turn it just a little more down. See what goes on, see what happens. That looks really close. Yep. So you'll see that's pretty well lined up. So what I'll do is, I can get the right angle here. I'll tighten these adjusting nuts and we'll be set. So it's a 1/2 inch wrench. Oh, try not to turn that too much. It'll go on there. It's a very tight fit. Okay. And it's best if you have 2 wrenches. Hopefully you guys can still see with my fingers in the way. And quarter turn to lock it in place. It's nice and snug, it's not going to go anywhere. I'll put the cap back on, but let's make sure that all the alignment is still right. Let's do one more test. I might be off here on the lines, so we'll go ahead here. I think that's pretty good. Okay, so I'll put the cap back on, this cover, and the adjustment is done. Hope you guys like the video and it's helpful to you. Thanks for watching.